I think that the Catholic Church does a lot of things really, really well. One of those things that the Church does really, really well, you can see right now with the passing of Pope Francis. I'm going to get to that in just a second. Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and this is Ascension Presents. So years ago, my best friend Nick, he was a youth minister here in town. And he's an incredibly gifted man. He's a great holy man, really fun. He was a great youth minister. And so when he was leaving town with his wife, it was one of those situations where everybody was just like lamenting the fact that he was leaving, which is good because, again, he was an incredible youth minister. At one point, though, he said it was such a relief because one of the people that he, knew, trusted, worked with, all these kind of things, came up and said, Nick, you have been a great blessing to this parish, and you've been such huge help for all of our families and for all these people here. But I just want to let you know, everyone's replaceable, and you are too. and he told me this, and he had the biggest smile. He said, I was so grateful that this person said that, because of course, to this point, everyone was saying like, no, we'll never replace you. We can never, get another youth minister like you. But to hear those words, you're great, and we really love you, and we're going to miss you. But just remember, everyone's replaceable. I have thought about those words so much over the course of the years, ever since Nick's left, because I was like, well, yes, but no, right? Because no one's replaceable. Everyone is irreplaceable. Like there's an intrinsic dignity to every human being that is not replaceable. And I was reflecting on this with the death of Pope Francis, because the Church simultaneously does these two really massive things. Someone dies. In this case, the Holy Father dies. And the Church pauses and says, okay, we're going to have a number of days where the Holy Father, is going to rest in state, where we are going to honor the fact that this was a human life. We're going to honor the fact that this was a man made in God's image and likeness. We're going to honor the fact that this was a man who was redeemed by Jesus Christ and also served the Church. Like, we're just going to pause right now and acknowledge the fact that this is an immortal soul. Here's the body. This is a person made in God's image and likeness who's no longer here with us. And so we acknowledge the fact that every individual in so many ways is irreplaceable. Every individual in so many ways has this, is unique and is unrepeatable. And at the same time the Church is doing this, it's also taking steps to elect the next pope. Because we know, just like that person told my friend Nick, everyone's replaceable. And it's this tension I love, because why? Because as individuals, as you, who you are utterly unrepeatable. You are completely unique. You have a great dignity that can never be replaced. And yet functionally, every one of us is replaceable. I mean, you can go to the Catholic parish, right? If you had a great priest and then the priest gets moved by the bishop and everyone's like, no, why did he do this? It's never going to be the same. And you get another priest and you realize, oh, everyone is functionally repeatable. You have the Pope dies and he is replaced. Why? Because everyone's functionally repeatable. Even in the fact that you have the Acts of the Apostles, the very first chapter, and you have the death of Judas in the end of the Gospels. And what do the apostles come together and say, let's replace him. We have to find someone to fill his spot, because every one of us is functionally replaceable. Now, if that's a painful idea for you, if that's a painful truth for you, we have to ask the question, for me, I have to ask the question, why would that be painful? Like, I'm the only one who can do this job. No, I'm not. I am utterly, functionally replaceable. I think it's only when we wrap up our identity in what we do that we're threatened by the truth that we are functionally replaceable. It's only when I think like, no, like they need me here at the office, or they need me here wherever I work, that I'm threatened by the fact that we know this. I mean, we've all probably lived this. Someone retires after years and years and years of serving a parish, a company, whatever the thing is, and they come back and again, they're mourned. It's like, it's not going to be the same without you. They come back in 4 months, and there's someone who's newly hired who now fits in, and they're working at that person's desk, and they don't even know that, no, you served for 40 years here, that kind of a thing. that reality is so true, and that reality is so good for us. Why? Because that reality reminds us that functionally every one of us is completely repeatable. Every one of us is functionally replaceable. And I could only handle that. I can only fully understand that and fully embrace it when I do not get my identity from what I do, but I get my identity from who I am. Because who you are, that's unrepeatable. I even just think about a husband and wife who live their entire life together, entire adult life together, and then one of them dies. The widow or the widower isn't just missing what the person did. They're missing the person. If you've ever lost a parent, you know that you don't miss what they did. You miss who they are. And there's something that if we miss that, we'll miss out on everything. In fact, I think some people miss out on life because of that, because I think what I do is more important than who I am. And you might think, this is the last thing, you might think, well, no, I don't think that. I don't think that what I do is more important than who I am. Okay, but what do you and I take more pride in? Who we are or what we do? What do you and I set more stock in? Who we are or what we do? Where do you or I get our sense of value, our sense of worth? Is it from who we are, or is it from what we do? I think a lot of times we're tempted to get our value, to get our sense of worth, to get our sense of purpose from what we do far more than we do from who we are. And when we do that, this truth that everyone is functionally replaceable hurts. And that's why I think that what the church is doing in the season of mourning the death of Pope Francis and also moving forward is so powerful. Because we mourn the person, right? The individual. And we move forward for the job, right? For the task, for that role. Because everyone, including you and including me, you're completely unrepeatable when it comes to your dignity and who you are. And every one of us, including me and including you, are utterly, functionally replaceable. Anyways, I think that's some really good news. I think it's good to be connected to the truth. You know what I mean? Anyways, we're all here to Ascension Presents. My name's Father Mike. God bless.